In the summer of 1587, a small wooden ship cut through the gray Atlantic waters, its sails heavy with salt and hope. The English settlers aboard whispered prayers as they neared the strange coast of a land no map could explain. To them, it was the promise of a new beginning, freedom, faith, and fertile soil. But to history, it would become one of its greatest unsolved mysteries. Roanoke Island, a place that even now seems to hum beneath the waves with something ancient. The settlers, men, women, and children, established what would be known as the Roanoke Colony. John White, their appointed governor, led them with optimism, sketching every tree and shoreline like an artist documenting paradise. Yet something about the forest made even the bravest men feel watched. At night, drums echoed faintly across the marshes, though no one could find the source. Within weeks, their food began to vanish. Tools disappeared. Strange markings appeared on tree trunks, symbols not known to any Englishman or the local tribes. Then one night, a child disappeared. Governor White decided to return to England for supplies, a journey that would take months. But when he finally came back 3 years later, the colony was gone, completely. No bodies, no blood, no smoke, just silence. Only one word was left carved deep into a wooden post: Croatoan. No one ever found a trace of the 115 men, women, and children again. 4 centuries later, in 1987, deep in the archives of the Smithsonian Institution, Dr. Eleanor Hayes discovered a sealed wooden box labeled Unverified, 1590. Inside were fragments of a strange metal compass, a diary written in ink that shimmered faintly under light, and a map of Roanoke Island, but not as it was. It showed the island surrounded by circular markings and a symbol that matched the mysterious carvings from the trees. Eleanor Hayes sat alone in the dim archive room, the hum of the fluorescent light above her mixing with the faint ticking of an old clock. The wooden box lay open on the table. She had seen relics from every war, empire, and forgotten tribe, but this one felt different. It felt alive. The diary's pages were made from rough parchment, but the ink was what fascinated her most. Under normal light, it appeared dark brown, like any centuries-old writing. Yet when she tilted the pages toward her desk lamp, it glimmered faintly in a blue-green hue, like the light of the sea at night. "Not possible," she whispered. "Pigment like this didn't exist in the 1500s. She carefully turned the first page. The handwriting was uneven but legible, written by someone educated but frightened. The first entry spoke of hope, about building a new world, planting corn, naming the settlement after the Queen. But as the days went on, the tone shifted. July 3rd, 1587. The forest whispers at night. The native tribes will not speak of what lies beyond the river. They call it the Croatoan Circle. We are forbidden to cross it. August 10th. Strange lights above the trees. Men swear they saw stars moving in patterns unnatural to God's sky. A humming sound fills the air at dusk. September 1st. We followed the light. Thomas fell to the ground and vanished before our eyes. I write this so others may know. The island hungers. Eleanor closed the diary. Her heart raced. She had read thousands of historical hoaxes, but this one had details too obscure for a fake. The Croatoan Circle, for instance, was a myth whispered among historians but never documented. How did this diary describe it so vividly? Her phone buzzed. It was Dr. Raymond Scott, head of the Historical Research Division. "Eleanor, I saw your request for lab access. You found something again, didn't you?" "A diary from Roanoke, or something pretending to be. I need a spectral analysis." "Bring it to Lab 4. But hurry, you might not be the only one looking for it." That last line caught her attention. Not the only one. Later that night, Smithsonian Lab 4. The lab smelled of ozone and old metal. Machines hummed as Eleanor placed the diary under a spectrograph. As the light scanned across the page, data appeared on the monitor. Ink composition, unknown. Pigment origin, non-organic. Spectral emission, radioactive trace detected. Radioactive, she murmured. From the 1500s? Suddenly, the monitor flickered. A small, geometric pattern appeared on the screen, a series of circles arranged in a spiral. It looked familiar. She glanced back at the map from the wooden box. The same spiral symbol surrounded Roanoke Island. Before she could process it, the lab door creaked open. A man in a dark suit stood there, expression unreadable. "Dr. Hayes," he said. "I'm Agent Callan. I believe you have something that belongs to the United States government." Eleanor froze. "How did you—" "The box you opened. It was never meant to be found. You need to come with me." "Why?" she asked, her voice trembling. He handed her a folder stamped Project Croatoan, classified. She opened it. Inside was a black-and-white photograph dated 1943. Showing a group of American soldiers standing beside a massive metal ring etched with the same spiral symbols from the diary. And in the photo's corner, someone had written a chilling note. Roanoke wasn't lost. It was the first test. Would you like me to continue with Chapter 3, where Eleanor is taken to a secret Cold War facility and learns how a U.S. experiment in 1943 accidentally reactivated whatever force made Roanoke vanish? That's where history and science begin to merge in terrifying ways.
Inside the ring, the air shimmered like liquid glass. It pulsed, slowly, rhythmically, like something alive. "Is that—" Eleanor whispered. Pierce nodded grimly. "The original test ring. It was built using recovered fragments from Roanoke Island. The metal wasn't like anything we'd ever seen. It carried a magnetic signature outside of known physics." The light brightened, flooding the room with a ghostly glow. And then they heard it, a faint echo, like voices whispering across centuries. "Help us." Everyone froze. Eleanor stepped closer, her voice shaking. "Did you hear that?" Callan raised his gun. "Step back, Doctor." But Eleanor didn't move. The whispers grew louder, overlapping, speaking in archaic English. "We are here. The stars moved. The island fell into the sky." Her pulse thundered in her ears. "They're the colonists. They're still inside," she said. Pierce stared at the ring. "That can't be. It's been over 400 years. "Not for them," she whispered. "If this field bends time, they could still be living, trapped in that moment." The diary in her bag began to vibrate. She pulled it out, its cover glowing faintly, just like the ring. The pages flipped on their own, stopping at a single entry, written in a trembling hand. "The circle hums again. The light returns. If someone reads this, follow the sound of the sea." The ring's glow surged violently, sending out a shock wave. The lights shattered. And then, everything went silent. When Eleanor opened her eyes, she wasn't in the lab anymore. The sterile smell of metal was gone. Now there was salt in the air, and the sound of waves crashing nearby. She stood in a forest of massive oaks, mist curling between their roots. The moon above was full and unnaturally bright. Callan, Quinn, and Pierce were gone. Her heart pounded. "No, no, no!" She stumbled forward through the fog and froze. Ahead of her stood a wooden fence, half rotted, with something carved into it. She traced it with trembling fingers. Croatoan. She had crossed through the breach. She was standing in Roanoke, 1587. Would you like me to continue with Chapter 5, where Eleanor meets the descendants or remnants of the lost colonists who have not aged a day since 1587 and discovers what force has been keeping them trapped for centuries?